Welcome to this Yin Yoga practice. In this class, we're going to be primarily working on different Yin Yoga poses that are targeting the psoas muscle, which is this connector muscle that connects our upper body to our lower body, and also connecting our spine to the lower part of our bodies. And it's a very powerful muscle, an important muscle to take good care of. And it's also very much linked with things like releasing stress and also in terms of dealing with our emotions and releasing emotions. And it has so many important roles, for example, just in our overall posture and any pains we might feel in our hips or back area, and just a lot of things in our bodies. A lot of it is often connected to a tight psoas muscle. So for this class, you're going to need a block, or if you don't have a yoga block, you can also just use a bigger book or something like that. You can also cover it with something soft like a blanket, or just a pillow as well will work. So you don't necessarily even need the block or the book. So at least a pillow or a bolster if you have. And we're going to get started in a Yin Yoga pose called Waterfall. A very nice, relaxing pose. So with this one, we are going to be lying down on our back, and you can just place that yoga block, or if you have a book, maybe you want to cover it with something soft, or also you can use your pillow. And we're going to place that right on our lower back area. You might need to wiggle around a little bit to find a good spot. But it's going to be really in your lower back area. As long as it feels comfortable, and also you can just use a pillow. So the point here is we just want to have that bit of like a higher positioning here for our back to get a very slight and nice back bend happening here. Nothing too intense, but a really nice one for getting us started. And from here, you can just bring your arms above your head. And just allowing your entire body to fully relax into this waterfall. You can close your eyes and just breathe deeply here. Just allowing the breath to flow in and out through your nostrils, but really feeling how with every inhale, your chest and your belly are expanding, and as you exhale, just feeling how the chest and belly are folding. And just notice if you're holding on to any tension in your body right now. Try to bring your awareness to that point and relax it. Relax your buttock muscles, your lower back. Relax your shoulders against your mat. Relaxing your upper back. And slowly from here, you can first bring the soles of the feet on the mat, bending your knees and taking that block or pillow out from underneath your lower back. And from here we can just do a couple of windshield wiper motions, bringing the knees first to one side and then the other side, just releasing any tension from the lower back area. And slowly from here, we're going to make our way up, moving next into our next pose, which is called the dragon. So to get into our dragon, quite an intense hip opening stretch. We are first going to stand on our knees, and then from here you can just bring your right leg forward. So bringing that right leg forward and bringing your left knee down on the mat. And here as well, just see if it's feeling somehow a bit uncomfortable. Maybe you want to roll your mat so that it's a bit softer underneath, or bring something soft like a blanket underneath that knee, because we're going to stay here for about 2 minutes in this pose, so you don't want to feel any kind of discomfort happening in that back knee. Now here in your dragon, you can also, if you have blocks, you can use them to kind of keep yourself a little bit higher, maybe on both sides, or also you can use your pillows for that same purpose to get yourself a little bit higher if it feels a bit too intense to be having your fingertips or your hands down on the mat. So just see wherever you are at what feels good. And this is a very intense pose for our inner thighs and our hips. But just try to bring your focus here to your breath. Continuing to take those deep inhales and full exhales. Breathing through any discomfort you might have here. We have about 1 more minute to go in this pose. Just continue to take the deep breaths and just notice also how is your body feeling right now. Where are you feeling this pose in your body? And slowly from here, you can gently come out of this. Back to your knees. We are going to be doing that same pose on the other side before we go for our little mini resting pose after. So this time you can bring your left leg in front of you. Again, that right knee is going to be down, pressing down on the mat. So you might want to put some padding or something soft underneath if it's in any way uncomfortable right now. And just allow yourself to settle into your dragon on this side. Maybe you'll notice the sides are feeling a bit different. So just notice that for yourself. Are you feeling like you're holding more tension in this side? Is it the same as it was on the other side? Again, just try to breathe deeply into this pose. have about a couple of more breath cycles to go, so just continue to take those deep breaths in through your nose, really feeling like you're breathing in all the way into your chest and belly, feeling how they expand, and then exhaling fully. Now slowly from here you can make your way back. Let's come into our child's pose for a few breaths. So you can bring your knees together and then just rest your head down on the mat for your child's pose. And slowly from here, we are going to move into our next pose. This pose is called saddle. A very nice back bending pose. So for the saddle pose, we're going to start by just sitting in between our legs. So sitting on the mat. And here, maybe you need to adjust, getting your calf muscles out of the way, making any adjustments, whatever feels good. And in our saddle, we're going to be reversing from here, lying down on the mat, but you might want to see what works best for you for your saddle pose. Maybe you want to place your pillow or your bolster underneath to make it a little bit softer for you to land. You might also want to stack a couple of different pillows on top of each other in this pose to make it a little bit higher. So this really takes off also some of the pressure from your knees if it's anyhow uncomfortable for your knees in this pose. So just see what works best for you right now in this pose. If you want to stack up some pillows or bolsters here. Also, if you don't need any pillow, that's also totally okay. You can just reverse back straight onto your saddle. But just try to find what works best right now for you. So you're feeling a nice stretch happening. You're feeling this nice back bend. And also it is quite an intense stretch for our thighs and our quadriceps. And you can just close your eyes here in your saddle. But again, try to keep that deep breathing with you here. Inhaling fully all the way into the belly, feeling the expansion of the belly. And exhaling fully. Just allowing for the breath to flow in and out through your nose, flowing in deeply. And as you're exhaling fully. We'll take a few more breath cycles here in your saddle. Again, just allow for the breath to go in all the way into your belly, to expand your belly area. And very slowly from here, supporting yourself and your lower back as you're coming up from your saddle. We're gonna get into our child's pose again for a little bit of a rest. So for your child's pose, you can choose either knees together and then just bringing your head down on the mat. Or you can also go for the wide-legged child's pose so that your big toes are touching, your knees are wide apart, and then from here, just coming forward, allowing your head to rest on the mat. Now slowly, slowly from here, you can start to make your way up. Next pose we're going to practice is called the camel pose. Another very nice chest opening, heart opening pose. And I will show you a couple of different variations for your camel. We're going to start by just, again, standing on our knees. And you can just measure the distance between your knees. So it's about like 2 fists in between your knees. So about hip width distance apart. And then from here, again, if you have any kind of discomfort underneath your knees, you can just maybe roll your mat, kind of make a double roll and then just go on that so it's a bit softer, or maybe place some kind of a blanket or something softer underneath. And then from here, we're just gonna first start with the first variation. So you can bring your hands kind of like in your imaginary jean pockets, in your back pockets here, in your lower back area. And from here, you can start to bring your shoulder blades closer together, bringing your elbows closer together, and actively start to kind of push your hips and your pelvis forward. So you're thinking like you're pushing your hips and your pelvis forward, also pushing your inner thighs or your upper thighs forward here. And then looking up towards the ceiling and just staying here for a while in this variation of your camel. Feeling this nice back bend. Keeping your eyes open here. And just be very mindful that there is no pain happening in your lower back area right now. If there is, just come out of the pose immediately, back into your child's pose. Slowly come back up. Now we're going to practice the full extent of the camel pose next, if that feels okay for you, if that's something you want to get into, especially if you have practiced camel before. But if you're totally new to the camel pose and if it's quite intense, because it is a very intense back bending, chest opening pose, you can just stay here in this first variation that we were practicing. So just starting even from this, like pushing your hips and pelvis forward, having this nice minor back bend happening, looking up towards the ceiling, bringing the shoulder blades and the elbows closer together. But if you want to go for the full camel, you can also tuck your toes under, so that way your heels are going to be a little bit closer to you, so the distance is not as long. Otherwise, just see what works best for you right now. Where do you want to go with your camel? You can go for the full camel by just reaching your heels. And here also just be actively imagining like you're pushing your hips and pelvis forward, you're pushing your thighs forward, your legs and thighs are very active in this pose. Feeling this nice expansion and opening in the chest area. Relaxing your head, keeping your eyes open. Breathing deeply in your camel pose. Whichever variation you are in right now, just remember to continue breathing. Then very slowly from here, supporting your lower back, you can make your way back up, and let's come straight into our child's pose for a nice counter pose. So this time with your knees together and just resting your forehead on the mat. And moving very slowly from here, you can come to a position lying down on the mat with your back against the mat. Our next pose we are going to be practicing is going to be the banana pose, Bananasana. So for this one, we are going to be first bringing our legs to the left side. So you can start by gently walking your feet and your legs to your left side. And then you're going to bring your arms above your head. And from here, walking your arms, your hands, your upper back, your head, your shoulders, also to your left side, so that your body is forming kind of like a C shape or like a banana shape. And also from here now, if you feel like you're not feeling much of a stretch happening on your right side, you can make this a bit more intense by bringing that right leg over your left leg, so just wrapping those ankles on top of each other. And also with your left hand, you can be gently pulling on that right arm. And that should allow you to feel a bit more intense of a stretch here on your right side. And here also just be mindful that your buttocks and your hips should be grounded on the mat. So make sure that your hips and buttocks are not coming up from the right side. If they are, maybe just back up a little bit and make your banana shape a bit less intense so that you can have your hips grounded. Otherwise, here you can just close your eyes and enjoy this nice stretch happening all along the right side of the body. Now you can gently release this pose by first bringing your legs back to the center, then bringing your upper body back and your arms back to the center. And we're just going to do this on the other side. So you can walk your legs first now to your right side, then walking your back, your upper body, your head, and your arms also towards the right side. And again here, if you want, you can grab a hold of your left wrist with that right hand. Also, you can bring your left ankle on top of the right ankle to feel a bit more intense stretch. But again, just be mindful that your hips and buttocks are staying grounded in this pose. Just continuing to breathe deeply. You can close your eyes again. Now slowly again, just first bring maybe your upper body back on the mat and then bringing your feet back to the center. And from here, you can just bend your knees so your knees are facing up towards the ceiling. We can do a couple of windshield wiper motions here, moving our knees first to the right side and the left side, gently moving from side to side, releasing any tension from the lower back area. This is a very nice movement to do in between any kind of spinal twisting or back bending or anything where we're kind of putting a bit of pressure on the back area. Now from here, we're just going to get into our Shavasana, final resting pose. So just make yourself comfortable, whatever you need for this pose. If you need to grab a blanket or another sweater to feel warm. And just find yourself comfortably lying down on your mat. Relaxing your entire body against the mat. Feel how your body is heavy against your mat and just mindfully relaxing all parts of the body, allowing them to sink in towards the mat. And just notice if you're still holding on to any tension anywhere in the body. Just bring your awareness to that point and try to release any tension. Your eyes are gently closed and your face muscles are relaxed. Your jaw is relaxed and your tongue in your mouth is fully relaxed. And just observe how the breath is flowing in and out through your nostrils. And just allow for the breath to flow naturally. No need to force anything or alter your breathing in any way. Just allow it to be. And from here, you can slowly start to make your way up to a seated position. You can keep your eyes closed, moving very slowly. And coming up into your cross-legged seated position. Just take a few more deep breaths here, allowing your lungs and belly to fill in completely with air. And then exhaling everything. And gently you can bring your hands to your heart center to seal your practice. And gently you can open your eyes. Thank you so much for joining this Yin Yoga practice today. I hope you enjoyed it and I wish you a lovely rest of the day.